Hey everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got my 1st John tray, a fresh cup of coffee, and my traveler's notebook insert where I'm documenting all of my Bible study notes from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. So I'm going to share a new process video working through another couple passages, but I haven't shared here in a few weeks and I wanted to give you guys an update, like a little flip through, just to see my progress so far. So I shared how I put together my title page, the intro, like context page, and then we did these first few together using lots of print and pray pieces and alpha stamps. Pretty much the things that I had pulled when I was like kidding supplies to work through this project, and that landed in this tray. You'll see I'm using consistent alpha stamps and a consistent color scheme, mostly. Making use of lots of journaling boxes, alpha stickers, things like that. Patterned paper, of course. I didn't share a process for this one, and I think some people might think it weird that I broke this word out super big, but it just doesn't mean like the Antichrist. It's just used to describe those who are in opposition to Christ in the context of 1 John. So like all of those who actively go out of their way to teach something other than Jesus. It was used repetitively, so I wanted to note that in my book. Lots of numbers for lists and things like that. So these are just using stickers from my stash. Again, the same two alpha stamps that I have been using. I brought in some more of Taylor's printables here, but still stuck to that color scheme. This one is one of my favorites. I used Brave Little Taylor's collection that she did for Dayspring a few years ago. I think it's called Childlike Faith. So I used the paper pieces that came along with that kit, and then, label stickers and some other things I had been using consistently elsewhere. But this set, Childlike Faith, is so adorable. And I loved getting to use it when I was journaling about being a child of God. This is another one of my favorites. I shared this one on Instagram. I used a lot of Vanessa Walker's Speak Love print and pray set, along with an older piece from last year's Wholehearted devotional kit. So again, a mix of typing on clear sticker paper for the verses, and then writing, my handwritten notes. I love these hearts, they're adorable. And then the X's and O's talking about loving one another. And I also liked using the speech bubble next to the text or idea that I was talking about to note the reference for each. So I think I want to try and incorporate more speech bubbles into my journaling. For this one, I don't love this one, and it's actually starting to come apart here. Have to run that through like a sewing machine or something. This one, it was just like one big idea that I wanted to pull out, and then I ended up writing all of the text around it in concentric lines. And then I ran out of room, so on this side I didn't have any plans, so I just put on a piece of older Amy Tangerine patterned paper and then wrote that last verse here on the right in this box. For this next page, I'm sharing a process video on the Illustrated Faith channel on Monday, so I'll go through it really quickly, but I'll link the video in the description box if you want to see how it came together, using Brave Little Taylor's His Banner Over Me set. And then for today, I'm going to be journaling as spread on the left and right for the next few passages in 1 John chapter 5. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so let's just go ahead and get the elephant in the room out of the way. Yes, I am in my pajamas when I made this video. I had an opportunity after my oldest went to school, my youngest decided to sleep in, thank you Aaron, and so I was able to spend some time working on this. So for the left side of my spread, I'm going to be journaling my notes from 1 John chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. The way that 1 John is set up is really cool. It's like broken out into paragraphs, so it's kind of easy to tell where you should start and stop after reading it a few times. So I started by typing up my verse onto clear sticker paper, just ran that through my typewriter, and then any words that I want to like draw out of it and spend a little more time with, I stamp out or put in a journaling box. So in verse 1 it says, "Everyone who believes that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God." So that word believes I wanted to define, and in the teaching portion of my study of this, it was defined as a personal commitment to Christ, not just mental assent or mental belief that he exists. So I felt like it was important to note that, because at the end of verse 5, John kind of wraps up this little paragraph here with a similar thought. So I'm just working my way down the page with an assortment of stamps and alpha stickers. Pretty early on, a color scheme emerged, and so I stuck to that. So the aqua and the like mustard color, the light pink, and then this red. And those are the colors that I'm sticking to for the whole spread. And then I switched back and forth between my typewriter here. This is common for me to alternate between the two. So I just like to keep it on my desk. Verse 2 says, "By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love and obey his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. And his commandments are not burdensome. For everyone who has been born of God, that is, a child of God, overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God?" So I love that the word believes kind of bookends this passage. So I noted in the one journaling box, what does it mean to overcome the world? And then topped it off with, who overcomes? The one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. So now that I have all of the essentials on my spread, I'm going to look to those spaces that kind of don't have anything in them, and I'll go ahead and fill those in. I looked to Vanessa Walker's Bits and Bobs set because it just coordinates so well, and then of course used my favorite Word Nerd stamp set to fill in some of those spaces. 1 John is the book of we are children of God, God is love, perfect love casts out fear, there is no fear in love, and so it's been really cool to read all of those very popular verses in context, in the rest of the context of the letter of John. And that's why I love what is called or considered this inductive method of study, is that we go word by word, verse by verse, chapter by chapter in one book. So what seems familiar to us, maybe from a coffee mug, just takes on even greater meaning when we study it that way, and it's so cool. I'll never get over it or stop geeking out about it here. For the right side of my page, this passage was a little more difficult for me to wrap my brain around, so I'm actually documenting some questions that I have. I don't have concrete answers for this section. The word testimony is repeated a bunch, and so I wanted to feature that up towards the top, again using my Word Nerd stamps, writing out some definitions, typing up the text on my typewriter, and looking to those same alpha stickers for my little list here. This next section that I'm journaling is chapter 5, verses 6 to 12, and when it starts talking about that Jesus is the one who came by water and the blood, and these testify to him, it's kind of but what does that mean? And so I'm just noting that here. Instead of having you watch me just write some additional text from the passage, I'm going to share the finished photos of my project. And that's it. You can see that I added one more floral to the middle. I love having an element that overlaps both sides of the notebook insert so that it kind of brings them together. I just totally geek out about how that unifies each page. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I've got the items that I used, those that are still available at least, linked down in the video description below if you want to check them out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.